Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new speed build. So today I'm working on the house for my two Let's Play sims. So if you guys haven't seen the create a sim for that, I'll definitely leave a link down in the description. I'll also put an I button in the top right hand corner. But in that video, I create Javier and Gia, who will be living in this house. So I decided to pick this spot that's kind of in town. I specifically didn't want to live in the area that I lived in where I did my early access high school years gameplay, because I just wanted a change in scenery, and I could have lived in that same starter home area, but I wanted to live here in the town. I was eyeing another spot that's like kind of behind this house, and I really wanted to live there, but I just didn't have the heart to move the Sims that live there. So I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, I can make this area work. Although I originally was gonna try and mimic the buildings around us to kind of make it fit more in the town, but I was like, you know what, whatever, it's fine. So I decided to go with a townhouse style. Usually when you see townhouses, they're like two houses kind of next to each other or like attached, or even I think more than two it can be. Either way, I know that there is also detached townhouses where they're like a singular thing. So I was like, I looked up on Google, I'm like, townhouse, because I know there's different styles, and I found one that I liked, and I was like, I'm gonna try and do this one. And so I was working on a basement situation because the house that I was looking at had like this cool, like, well, I didn't see the interior, but there was like a spot that led into the basement, and I was gonna do it and it just didn't work out. So I was like, okay, it's fine, like I'm just not gonna worry about a basement. And so I just stuck to this style. Now this house will kind of play into the story a little bit. I was gonna talk about it in here, but I'm like, maybe not, because I kind of got the idea whilst playing to develop a storyline even with this house. So I'm actually really excited. I feel like as I've been taking more time to like think and process, I've been thinking of how I want to play things out and stuff. So the exterior for the most part was fairly easy. I cut out me like trying the like two building situation. I did a lot of trial and error when it came to the exterior. I wasn't even gonna originally have like a little balcony, but then I was like, it kind of adds to the house a little bit, which wasn't in the original like photo that I was using for inspiration. The one thing I really wanted to make sure I included with this house is a way for your teens to sneak out. I thought that if you had a foundation, you could still put a ladder so they could go all the way down. That is not the case, so I had to do a makeshift way to get down, which was my ideal scenario, but it's okay. I think if the house didn't have a foundation, it'd be fine, but that is not the case here. I also learned some new building terminology whilst building this house. So you see those little things that are sticking out from the top of the roof? Apparently that's called a corbel. I had no idea. I literally did not know how to find it in game either. I was struggling for so long. And Google really wasn't helpful because I looked up what's that little thing that sticks up from the top of the roof, and they didn't know either. And then I ended up coming across a piece of CC that was a corbel, and thankfully the word was in that piece of CC, and I looked it up, and sure enough, it's a corbel, so we love that. Oh my gosh, the interior, guys. I thought it was gonna be easy, breezy. I didn't even tell you guys how long I spent on this house. I spent over 6 hours working on this house. I know, it doesn't even look like a 6-hour type of build. I totally understand that, but I was having, I was going back and forth so much. The living room doesn't even end up being the way that it is. Neither does the kitchen. I was debating on just like cutting out this entire footage, but sometimes it's kind of cool to see like where your head goes. I was working on this last night, and then I was just like, nothing was going the way I wanted to. And so then I came back this morning and I was like, okay, let me just take another shot at it. Because there was a point where I was like, do I scrap this? Do I not? Because previously that day I was working on a high school, because for those of you who know the game Life is Strange, the school that they go to is called Blackwell Academy, and I really wanted to recreate that in The Sims 4. And let me tell you, it was a rough start because again, I spent like 2 hours. Majority of the time was me using terrain tools, which already red flag. Like, that's not for me. Like, I should not be doing that because I already struggle as much as it is. And although I still have a decent foundation where I could continue working on it, it's just the way that the school is built, like the middle part is like really high up, and I don't know if there's a way you can go above 3 floors. I don't know. Like, I build, but I'm not a building expert. I don't do this like constantly. So maybe I just need to become a builder, guys. maybe a build channel, and maybe then I'll learn things and and eventually I'll be good, you know? So maybe that's the case. Not only that, it's a 64 by 64 lot. So that was also very stressful and overwhelming, seeing, you know, a big plot of land in front of me. I'm like, okay, now what do I do with it? Which, although it was a little bit easier trying to do the Blackwell Academy school, because a lot of the front is just grass and hangout area, which, I mean, I would like to tackle that another time, but I think either I'm gonna try another school and kind of just come up with my own layout, or again, I might just find a school to place down for my Let's Play, because I'm just gonna tell you, I've been on a building struggle bus. Like, this build, you know, was a little bit easier, but also struggled pretty hard for the interior. But I think also, I was thinking about it now, that maybe if this build interior had a different floor plan, especially the downstairs, I think potentially it could have been a little bit easier for me. I think that's probably the main thing that I struggled with. Like, I definitely changed things up from like what I originally started with. But yeah, I think that's probably what it was. And oh my gosh, also, we haven't even gotten to the bathroom yet, but I'm just already thinking about the bathroom, and for some reason that was also extremely difficult for me. It's a larger bathroom. I usually do pretty small bathrooms, but I was like, you know what, I'll just change it up a little bit and make a big bathroom, and then even a laundry room. Like, who am I? What am I doing? I don't know. I just went off topic of what I was saying, but back to the high school thing, is that there is a lot of high schools I've seen that are so good, and I'm just like, give me like just an ounce of that talent, okay? Because, oh my God, like, some people are just incredible, and I'm just like, I want a little bit of that, okay? So I just know that if it took me 6 hours to build this little guy, imagine how long it's gonna take me to build a high school, you know? Like 50 hours, maybe, probably, I don't know. Imagine me trying to edit that high school though, that video. Oh my God. Anyways, back to this current build. So the kitchen, I still don't know if I'm content with the counters, although I do really like the wallpaper that I used, or I guess tiles that came with the new pack, and it's definitely very art deco-y, but like, oh my God, I saw that color swatch and I was like, I need it. And what I think is so awesome is sometimes like I would use like these long lamps that you could hang on the wall to put underneath the cabinet so that there's a little light there. Now I use the LED strips that came with this pack, and I think it gives off like the perfect beam of light. I also went back later on and changed the color to be a little bit warmer and dimmed them ever so slightly, just so it's not so stark white. But I think it looks really cute, and I think I was also not set on a color scheme. Like, I think it was also, I was trying to incorporate like wood tones, obviously, and then like a little bit of teal and green, and I think I was kind of all over the place, and I didn't have a concise like idea, if that makes sense. So she's all over the place, but it's okay. Like, you know, sometimes not everything's gonna work out, and that's just how it is. So I'm accepting the build for the way that it is, and whether I like it or not, you know, I guess the future me will decide. Because at first, like after I finished, I was like, I don't feel like satisfied. I'm like, oh yes, like this is my build, you know? As I was editing the video, I kind of started to like it a little bit more. Maybe eventually I'll love it, but I definitely think that the interior could be better. At least the first floor. Like, I've never one to really plan out the floor plan beforehand. Like, I always just build the exterior, and then I kind of go in and makeshift a floor plan based off of the space that we have and everything like that. Although I'm not sure, I feel like it'd be better to just go in and like organize the floor plan first, like lay out the rooms and everything, and then make a build out of that. Although at the same time, I feel like that would be difficult. No, like, I don't know how people build. Like, I need to start watching more builders, I think. I think maybe that's what I need to do, because maybe that way I'll kind of learn more about this particular skill. And I feel like also decorating, I feel like I usually enjoy the process of. This one, I just like, I was like, I can't wait to be done kind of thing. Although I was looking forward to decorating the teens room the most, I just was like, I'm still stuck downstairs, like I want to move up. So with the downstairs area here at the front door, I wanted to make sure I added like a section where, you know, you could hang up your jackets and, you know, have your shoe rack and all that stuff. So I usually never do that, but since I had this space, I was like, I might as well. So now we're moving on to my favorite part, the bathroom. This, again, I think it's the shape that really is just not doing it. maybe I could have just made the bathroom in that little square as opposed to the actual like larger area. That could have been a mix of 2 rooms potentially. The thing is, like, I might go back into this build and fix it up and change things. I don't know. It depends on how I'm really feeling about it, because I think this particular area is just also kind of like a mess for me. Maybe this is where we could have had the living room actually. Oh, maybe I could have put the living room. You know what? Maybe I'll do some testing later. I don't know. But yeah, it's just, for some reason, just I don't even know if it's functional. That's the other thing I need to test, is if it's working. So that could be also an issue, but we'll figure it out. I even made space for a laundry room, so I thought it would make sense, like with the teens and like them dropping clothes after like the laundry basket's full, because like I already have like a little like pile of messy clothes on the ground. So I think it'll be cool if like there's more added to it and like actually have chores and stuff. I'm just remembering now also that I forgot to add the parenthood board so that you can give curfews and, you know, all that stuff. So I might have to add that in as well. I really can't wait to like play with parenthood and high school years, because again, when I played, I only play with just base game and high school years, so I can't wait to incorporate these other packs and stuff. Although I have heard that apparently the high school years pack isn't necessarily integrated with all other packs and other stuff that happens, which kind of sucks, but like you can also just play with them and it'll like work, you know? It's just not like, there's not specific things that because of high school years you can now do with the other packs and stuff like that. So now we're moving on to the upstairs. So originally I had Gia living in the smaller bedroom, and I was like, well, I don't feel like it's enough room for her. And then I was thinking like maybe because Javier felt guilty for having to up and move to a new town, that he was like, okay, you can have the big room. And I already had stuff picked out because I just literally moved her stuff from that small room to the bigger one. So yeah, and I don't think Javier really needs that much stuff at the moment. I had put his like little office in there as well, but I thought this spot was kind of nice because her room ends up being kind of boho themed, but also like a mix of other things. Like it's no particular style, it's just kind of all over the place, which I want for her anyways, because I think potentially what I might do is have her change throughout, where like, you know, maybe her style changes and maybe we end up changing her room. I don't know. I haven't fully decided. I'm still haven't played with them, so we'll see how everything goes. I also believe that there is a patch update coming out next week or later next week, I think they said, to fix the bugs that people have been experiencing, which, I mean, next week is, you know, still a little while away. I mean, well, we're a Saturday right now, so I mean, I guess not necessarily, but if it's later, like what, Thursday, Friday-ish, then that is kind of late. So we'll see. Maybe I'll just be too impatient and I'll just record the first episode and then we'll see how things go. As long as my Sims don't age up and die and all that stuff, and I think if you play on normal lifespan, I think things are fine. So I could just switch to long probably shortly after or something like that. So we'll see what I decide, but looking at the desk right now, I will say I really love that area, because at first that wall felt so empty to me, but then I was like, oh, let me try this little cube storage, and I really like how that turned out, and like the little Polaroid heart I think looks really cute there. So I think that's one thing I do need to work on though, as far as like a building skill, is working towards decorating walls a lot nicer and like making use of space. Because although I really like a cluttered kind of lived in home, minimalism sometimes is nice too, especially if like there's certain spots that are really cluttered. Even though I don't think I went really overboard in this house, her room, yeah, for sure, like I wanted to have like a lot of stuff going on, but I didn't go like above and beyond like I could have. And the way that I decorated this house is like they've moved in, they've spent like the summer here, and now Gia's gonna be going off to her new school for the first time in the fall, so they've had some time to like decorate and like accumulate items and stuff like that. Because I mean, they did move from their old house to this one, so they did have stuff. Like maybe they bought a couple pieces of furniture, but other than that, like it's not anything like super new. I wanted to make sure that it didn't feel so empty, because like I was gonna originally make it so that it's like, oh, like they've just freshly moved in, so it's like very empty and like there's not much here, but that would require a lot more, you know, furnishing in the future. So I was like, we're not gonna worry about that. So now we're moving on to Javier's bedroom. So I originally started off with 2 bedside tables, but I was like, he's a single sim, so I just decided to get rid of one and push everything to the side. So for his bedroom, I stuck with like darker furniture. I kind of wanted it to be a polar opposite of Gia's room and just very much like kind of like your average bedroom. And by pushing everything to the side, it made space for a desk. So his room is quite small, but I have everything that I really need in there. I specifically wanted a desk in here because I didn't have space for a desk downstairs, which I thought about that later. I was like, oh, I could have put this downstairs, but no space. But I gave him a laptop and put a bunch of boxes and papers because he's a lawyer, so he definitely has a lot of that. So he spends a lot of time in here working. So that's pretty much it for his room. I just put some stuff on his dresser. Again, didn't want to go too crazy with clutter for his room. And then all I did was just add some little details here and there. This build might change by the time you guys see it in the Let's Play if I decide to tackle it once again, but I don't know. We will see what happens. I still have to test it if it's functional. So I don't know exactly when I'll be posting this house on the gallery, but it will be up eventually. So if you guys want it, you're gonna have to wait a little bit until I decide what I want with this house. So I think that's pretty much it for the build. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys in a new video very soon. Bye guys.